The medical bay of the Celestial Wanderer hummed with its usual sterile efficiency, but today it carried an undercurrent of tension that made even the veterans uncomfortable. Jasmine lay on the recovery pod, her left arm wrapped in regenerative bandages, her ribs still healing from the brutal encounter 3 cycles ago. The human female's breathing was steady but shallow, each inhale a reminder of cracked bones knitting back together. Aragorn sat beside her, his posture relaxed but his eyes alert. The human male hadn't left her side since they'd returned from Kepler 442b. He'd pulled up a chair, angled it so he could see both Jasmine and the door, and simply stayed. The medical staff had learned quickly not to make sudden movements around him. Captain Vexthor, a towering Kryn with chitinous plating and 4 compound eyes, stood at the entrance to the medical bay observing. In his 3 decades of commanding multi-species crews, he'd never seen anything quite like this. "Explain it to me again," he said to his first officer, a methodical Trell named Orlin. Orlin's tentacles writhed in what might have been frustration or fascination. With the Trell, it was hard to tell. The human female, Jasmine, was escorting a group of Mixian cubs through the jungle sectors of Kepler 442b. Standard botanical expedition. A predator, what the locals call a ridge stalker, emerged from the canopy. And she fought it? Vexthor's mandibles clicked skeptically. Ridge stalkers are apex predators, 3 meters of muscle and claws. She didn't just fight it, Captain. She threw herself between the creature and the cubs. Took the first strike meant for the smallest one. By the time Aragorn and the security team arrived, she'd killed it with nothing but a field knife and what I can only describe as absolutely feral determination. Vexthor watched as Dr. Intara, a softly glowing Lumini, approached Jasmine's pod with a tray of medications. Aragorn's head turned fractionally, tracking her movement. The doctor moved slowly, announcing each action before she took it. "Jasmine, I'm going to check your vitals now," Intara said gently. Jasmine's eyes fluttered open. "Thanks, Doc," she whispered, her voice hoarse. From the corridor, Ensign Cradle, a young and inexperienced Kryn, burst through the door. "Captain, I've compiled the report on—" He didn't finish. The change in Aragorn was instantaneous. The human male was on his feet, positioning himself between the loud newcomer and Jasmine's pod. His stance was deceptively casual, but every crew member with predator ancestry recognized it for what it was. A threat display. "Lower your voice," Aragorn said quietly. Each word was carved from ice. Cradle froze, his vocal sacs deflating. I apologize, I didn't—" "She's healing," Aragorn continued, his tone brooking no argument. "You will be quiet or you will leave, that I'm—" Ensign retreated so quickly, he nearly tripped over his own legs. This was the 4th such incident in as many days. Vexthor had watched the security footage from Kepler 442b a dozen times. Jasmine, barely 60 kilograms of human female, had wrapped her arms around 3 Mixian cubs, children of his own crew members, and taken a ridge stalker's claws across her torso. She'd screamed not in fear but in rage. The knife work that followed was simultaneously brutal and precise. But it was the aftermath that had shaken the crew. The Mixian cubs, 6 of them in total, had refused to leave Jasmine's side during the Ektir. "Emergency transport back to the ship," they'd cried, their crystalline tears falling onto her bloodied uniform. And when the medical team tried to separate them from her, Aragorn had simply said, "No." Not a request. A statement of fact. The cubs had stayed through the surgery, held back by Aragorn, who'd whispered to them constantly. "She's strong. She'll be okay. Humans are tough. She did this because she loves you." Now 3 cycles later, the cubs visited every day. They'd creep into the medical bay, their translucent forms shimmering with anxiety, and Aragorn would nod them forward. They'd climb onto Jasmine's bed carefully, so carefully, and curl up around her. Jasmine would wake, see them, and smile through the pain. "Hey, little ones," she'd murmur, running her good hand over their smooth heads. "I'm okay, see? Still here." The cubs' parents, hardened engineers and scientists all, would stand in the doorway with tears in their eyes. The Mixians were an old race, cautious and measured. But they understood debt. They understood sacrifice. Commander Thylin, head of security, and a battle-scarred Draxon approached Vexthor. "Captain, we need to address the Aragorn situation." Explain. He's becoming territorial. Yesterday, I raised my voice during a routine briefing, nowhere near the medical bay, and he was there in seconds. Didn't say anything, just stood in the doorway watching me until I lowered my tone. Vexthor's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. He perceives threats to her. It's more than that, sir. The entire security team, the Cubs, even some of the engineering staff, they're all doing it now. They growl at anyone who's too loud near the medical bay. The Mixians bare their teeth if someone moves too quickly around her. It's spreading. Vexthor entered the medical bay properly this time, his footsteps slow and deliberate. Aragorn watched him approach but didn't move from his chair. Aragorn, Vexthor said quietly. May I speak with you? The human male glanced at Jasmine, still sleeping, still healing, then nodded. They moved to the far corner, but Aragorn kept her in his line of sight. You've claimed her as pack, Vexthor observed, and extended that protection to anyone who shows her loyalty. Aragorn's jaw tightened. She threw herself at a 3-meter killing machine for kids that weren't even her species. She didn't hesitate, didn't calculate odds, just protected them. His voice softened. Someone has to protect her while she heals. And if she doesn't need protecting? A ghost of a smile crossed Aragorn's face. Captain, with respect, she'll always need someone watching her back. Because when the next threat comes, she won't run. She'll do exactly what she did on Kepler 442b. His eyes hardened. And I'll be damned if I let her face it alone. Vexthor understood then. This wasn't about dominance or territory. This was something more fundamental, something that perhaps only humans truly understood. The absolute, unshakable loyalty that came from witnessing someone willingly break themselves to protect the innocent. Very well, Vexthor said. But inform the crew, quiet voices near medical. It's now standing protocol. As Vexthor left, he heard Jasmine's voice, weak but amused. Aragorn, did you just intimidate the captain into making a noise ordinance? You need rest. I need you to stop growling at everyone. Can't promise that. Her laugh turned into a wince, and immediately Aragorn was there, adjusting her pillows, checking her pain medication levels. The cubs stirred, sensing her discomfort, and added their own concerned chirps. In the corridor, Vexthor heard it clearly, the sound of a family that had nothing to do with biology and everything to do with choice. The human had bled for them, and now they would stand guard over her healing. It was, he reflected, the most human thing he'd ever witnessed, and perhaps, in its own way, the most universal.